The Bride will be the worst movie of the year. It's my second worst movie of all time. Second only to Joker 2, and I didn't expect to say that.
Can anybody help me? Please.
Now, looking at the reviews, it doesn't even seem that bad, but when it comes down to the people that love this movie, it is purely based on ideology and the fact that it tries to be artistic. And so that means a load of people that want to be pretentious and pretend they're actually deep will convince themselves this is good. It's a radical take. A stitched-up middle finger to the patriarchy with gangsters and musical numbers. It'll also appeal to people who are genuinely evil, because that's what this movie is. Anything I say in this video, you might think I'm exaggerating. When I read the reviews of other people, that's what I thought about them. I only watched this movie so I could give that context about what they were saying. And then I found out everything they said was deserved. If I wasn't making a video on this, I would have walked out of the cinema. This movie is like Joker 2. It's intentionally trying to make you feel awful. Except at least the message of Joker 2 was that you should submit to authority or they'll break you. The message of this one is that women should be evil, overthrow society, and then support each other so that they can continue doing more evil. This isn't me interpreting in the movie. It tells you this. This is not a subtle movie. The Bride is wild. It's not good, but it's wild. Jeff Zhang says, I would have loved to add this too. You're all wrong about this one. But you're all right about this one. And this is, as IGN put it, a little over the top with its gaudy feminist reimagining of The Bride of Frankenstein. This movie is too feminist for IGN. They gave it a 5. This movie was too feminist for Hannah. I would say Hannah is the exact target market of this movie. It's probably understandable then that the movie was always going to bomb. It has a $90 million budget, and yet heading into the opening weekend, it was projected to make $11 to $16 million, which was already going to be bad. And then they got revised down to $6 to $9 million. After it only made $1 million in its opening preview. This is a movie that was too bad for Grace Randolph. Now, you could say what you like about Grace, whichever side of the fence you're on, but this is someone who doubled down, piling on attacks of a disabled person, and the movie was too evil for her. The Bride is so awful, they would have loved what she was doing. They would have supported it. They would have thought every woman in the world should get around in a hug box and tell her she was doing the right thing. And I feel I need to point out, me comparing it to a movie like Joker 2, it's not a small thing. I don't think I can accurately put into words how much I despise Joker 2. I tried to do the best I could in my review, but it goes deeper than just words. I feel like Joker 2 was designed to actually hurt you as a person. I consider The Bride to be the same thing. The message of The Bride is actually the destruction of society. And I may say things in this review, you're like, there's no way that's true. He must be making that up. He's exaggerating that. That's what I thought about other people's reviews. Normally, I would encourage people to watch the movie so they understand for themselves. I'm not going to do that on this one, simply because I believe this movie should come with a health warning and a soul warning. I'm going to use the word evil a lot in this video, but I actually don't know what other word to use for a movie that praises the murder of innocents, only to excuse them and say that women should band around together to encourage more of it. And yes, those pesky menfolk, they will try and stop you being evil, but you should use the power of DEI hires to get one over on them, and then use that power to get them out of the room so the women can continue doing it. No, that's in the movie as well. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. The movie's like Folie à Deux, but even worse. The worst criticisms of Wuthering Heights apply here. Offensive to the original author, source material, and audience. Nepotism and self-righteousness all wrapped up in a messy affair. This last part is especially accurate. A lot of the scenes feel completely unconnected, bouncing on from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, simply because the message needs it to happen. Not the story, not the plot, none of that matters. It's just, oh, we need to say men are bad here, so let's go to a theatre where a man is going to force himself onto a woman in full view of the entire theatre, as she's saying no repeatedly. And that's not part of the plot, it doesn't serve any reason in the movie. It's just simply the reason why we needed to go into a theatre, so that we could have people around us, so we could have something for the message. This movie doesn't care about plot or reasoning or any kind of world making sense. That's what the menfolk care about. This movie is very much focused on the message, the social consensus, and the feelings. Rather unfortunate that the feeling it's going for in this is hatred of men, bloodlust over the innocent, guilt, trauma, and overcoming that so you can just murder more people. There's even a scene in this which is literally designed to tell people that you should destroy things until you get your own way. They won't listen to you until you start destroying things. Society won't listen to you until you destroy it. I hate this movie. Even Variety love this, by the way, which makes it rather weird when they say that The Bride is part of a growing wave of feminist horror. Movies that place women's autonomy, rage, and control at the center of a monster story. Experts say it's part of a broader shift, redefining the monster. Barbara Creed instead says, instead of becoming an abject thing, the heroine owns it. Yes, this is about the heroine being evil, realizing she's evil, realizing she's a monster, and then going, I love this, I'm going to do it more. Male stories about heroism and sacrifice and saving other people. Feminist stories. They're about destroying the world and blaming everyone else for it. After you've sat through what I can only describe as a living hell in this movie, you get to the end and, do you think she takes accountability and responsibility for her actions? No, of course she doesn't. Instead, she blames the female scientist that brought her back to life. You see, the logic that she pitches at her was that if you hadn't resurrected me from death, then I wouldn't have been alive in order to commit all of this evil. So that makes it your fault. It's the weird thing, isn't it? There's a lot of talk in some of these reviews about autonomy, agency, and about how women really need to take that for themselves. And yet the moment that consequences and responsibility come into the equation, suddenly I'm just an object, I can't do anything. I'm not responsible for my actions. It's somebody else's fault. Now, Gyllenhaal, she's not a great thinker. She had to write and direct this movie, which is why it thinks that it's so smart and artistic. It's that height of arrogance and ego that only someone with 100 IQ could actually have. It contains lines like, I've got brains, plenty of brains, loads of brains inside this. I'm the brains of the operation. This is a brain attack. Gyllenhaal's idea of intelligence in this movie is basically being a thesaurus. Oh, why would you say one word when you could say 7 words that all mean the same thing? This is constant throughout the movie. It is literally picked up on by multiple characters as the reason for how she's so smart. This is someone who, when talking about the original source material promoting the film, said that the bride was brought back from the dead without her consent to be the wife of someone that she's never met. And I just gone out wondering, how are you supposed to get consent from the dead? Gyllenhaal never wonders this. I don't think Gyllenhaal ever wonders anything. You see, this is a movie who would hate me because I have dangly bits. That is genuinely how deep its critique of men get in this movie. It's just, they're all perverts. Look, it's made in Hollywood. I can actually understand why someone in Hollywood might have that point of view. But when you get told that the film's ambition, in her words, is a celebration of all the parts of us that will not fit into the box that we've been told we need to fit into, and then you find out the stuff that doesn't fit into a box is the rampaging slaughter of innocent people, the literal destruction of society. I think you should get back in your box. Scholars who've made their careers in studying horror, feminist theory, and the history of artificial women. There's a word for those. The unemployed. So the impulse goes far deeper than a single cultural moment, far older than Hollywood. The monstrous feminine sees silence as a whole point. Female monstrosity is not simply a version of the male monster. It's more specific, rooted in the body, in reproduction, generative power, and their adulthood. Just want to point out, this isn't me doing it. This is them going, I am nothing but my body. That is the only power I have. There's like a 3-minute or something adult scene in this, by the way, during which she's inspired a very Joker-like revolution across the country. Do you want to know what this revolution is? Just rampantly slaughtering innocent people while shouting, brain attack! Brain attack! I always think you know the intelligent people in society because they say the word brain a lot. That's how Gyllenhaal recognises them. Oh, also, I keep mentioning Joker too, without the most obvious similarity between them. There's a lot of hallucinatory dance scenes. I wish I was joking I was in hell. Although, compared to the rest of the themes of the movie, being in hell for dancing is a lot better than being in hell because you're actually watching Satan himself appear on the screen. That one wasn't literal, but the rest of this review has been. She rejects all possibility of continuing the dominant social order. Wait, that's the words that I use. Except they think that the dominant social order is patriarchy. I wish. She doesn't want to be part of the continuation of the order of male power and science. Okay, this person is an idiot because one of the main characters in this is a female scientist. The scream, the hiss, the explosion. It's the monster's rage. Refusing the only role she was offered. Oh my god, that's a long article. Maybe I'll come back to that another day because at this point, I just think the Japanese were right. The Bride is all about agency, who gets it, who doesn't, and how so much of it seems to run across chromosome-based lines. This might be the least subtle movie of all time. There is literally moments of police go into a crime scene and like, oh, hello, detective, and who are you? Look at a woman, and he turns to her and goes, that's my secretary. Like he thought that they would turn her away if he just said she was a policewoman. I don't know. At least he does pay it back to her, though, because she is obviously the far smarter, actually intelligent detective of the two of them. He is nothing but a sort of a male horse whisperer. He can slip in among the bros and distract them so that she can explore the crime scene and do the real police work. Almost Sherlock Holmes in her intellect. Like, of course, she's constantly affirmed as being incredible in the movie, and yet her entire police work generally comes down to finding a piece of paper on the floor, or literally letting evil murderers get resurrected so they can go on a killing spree. Again, which she knows they're going to do. She does get promoted, though, halfway through the movie. She becomes a detective. She actually gets position of the male detective because he stood down as an ally as he realised that I do just have dangly bits, and that means that I shouldn't be in this position. And so I told my boss that I will resign if he lets me choose my successor. And that's you. This is legitimately a DEI hire who got promoted far beyond her station into a position she hadn't earned just because of what was between her legs by a male feminist. I told you, you wouldn't believe me when I said what was in this movie. But it really isn't a subtle movie. What apparently is, though, is an adult, violent resistance and ideas. Many, many ideas. She was a former 2-bit gangster. Actually, she was a deep undercover operative who was spilling her secrets to the police. She's got a serious bone to pick with the patriarchy. Her would-be groom dug her up, resurrected her. But doesn't she have a say in any of this? They brought her back without asking her first. That means that she needs to start an angry lady revolution and burn the whole rotten, sexist infrastructure to the ground. If you saw how she behaved in this movie, you'd want her repressed as well. In fact, the one thing that this movie made me sure about is that maybe the world has been set up throughout all of history in a certain way for a reason. Gyllenhaal's radical, fit-to-burst take is molten at its core, all about agency. It's about reclaiming Shelley's legacy from the male-dominated canon. There's a lot of ideas. It's as if Gyllenhaal was worried she might never be able to make another film after this. If there's any justice in the world, she'd be right. This is going to lose all of the money, and will be universally slated by anyone with taste. In fact, if people like this movie, and I mean, like it for the themes of this movie, I'm sure, just like Joker 2, some people will watch it and not actually get what it was saying. The perfect examples of ignorance is bliss. There's going to be that with this as well. They just see musical numbers and aren't paying attention to what it's actually telling them. But if they do genuinely understand what's happening in the movie, like the Variety article, and like it then, that's probably the biggest red flag ever. I wouldn't allow them near pointy objects. This is a glorious mix of genre flicks, gender politics, camp. Oh yeah, there is a guy in a French maid's outfit waiting tables. I'm pretty sure he is the only guy in the entire movie who doesn't attack a woman. I don't think I'm exaggerating. I can't think of anyone else. I think he is the only one that either does it or is by them when somebody else does it. The villain in this movie literally cuts the tongues off women and then keeps them on a shelf behind him in jars. It sounds like I'm making this up, but I'm not. You see, it's a message about the patriarchy silencing women. It's very subtle. It's a very subtle movie. Comes courtesy of Warner Brothers. I'm so glad you're getting purchased. The same savvy and aspirational works like Sinners, One Battle After Another, and Barb. Oh god. And people were worried that Netflix would make Warner Brothers worse. I'd be worried about whoever bought Warner Brothers. It might infect them. What we really need are more ambitious filmmakers who are willing to swing for every fence. They think it's so deep and complicated. The movie does as well. Jill clearly thinks this is an art movie. But just like modern art, this movie is the equivalent of crapping on the floor and turning the light on and off. Yes, some people will like it. Your midwit with too much money, who wants to appear deep at dinner parties, with a truly refined palate, simply because they can only like trash that nobody else can. Because any common pleb can like something good, but it takes a truly refined artist to find beauty in something awful. A narrator names the woman Ida, as in I'd rather not. That's said throughout the movie, rather than just no. Now, a smarter person may have been able to turn this into an actual point, that women do have to be more subversive, more manipulative, everything has to be more passive-aggressive rather than aggressive, because they would lose any fight when it comes down to force. Of course, that would actually be anti-feminist, wouldn't it? That would be a realist perspective. And so they can't admit that. That would be true. And what we're trying to do here is create a manipulative false narrative in order to gain power. This means that any point around her name is utterly lost, that you could just say no. And yet throughout the movie, she just keeps going, I'd rather not, despite genuinely horrific things happening to her, because every single man that she meets is awful and wants to attack her because they just can't control themselves. At no point does anyone stop to think, how do these men have the time and the energy and the stamina if they're doing it to every single woman they meet at every opportunity throughout their entire life? How do they get anything done? That is as frequent as it would need to be for the amount of times it happens in this movie. In fact, it happens so often in this movie, it really comes across more like clit-lit. A cliterature. 50 Shades of Monster. Here comes the waste of time. Warner Brothers could have delayed this another year, and it still wouldn't be enough time to fix all the problems. I've no idea what Gyllenhaal was thinking, or Warner Brothers, when they gave her $90 million for this obnoxious, scattershot mess of a movie. The Bride is second only to Cats as the worst movie I've seen in the last 10 years. I've never seen Cats. Although anything with James Corden in it is immediately sus. I've just watched The Bride, and it's simply the worst movie of the year, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Excellent trailers for a 0 out of 10 movie. It was reviews like that where I'm like, there's no way this is true. You are exaggerating, you're going over the top. Everyone loves a bit of exaggeration in a storyteller. It makes it more exciting, more punchy. It allows you to tell something with a bit of flair. That's why I watched the movie, so I could, balance out how horrific these other comments were. I didn't expect to be agreeing with them. One of the worst movies I've ever seen in this job. Feminist Frankenstein is a gothic monster mess. Plays like a lost remnant of woke culture. A cinematic time capsule before the vibe shift. I don't know where people think this vibe shift was. The content is simply a creation of the people employed in the industry, and the people employed in the industry never changed. This movie is just symbolic of continuing what Hollywood has been for years, and a social movement that's been destroying society for 180 years. Oh, I thought this was a review from Page 6, which I've never heard of. It turns out it's from the New York Post. I gotta be honest, I thought the New York Post would have loved this movie. It's a struck by lightning shocker. I regretted leaving my pitchfork at home. Who's there? Replies the same deranged woman, talking to herself. It's me, author of Frankenstein. A feeling of paralyzing dread crept in. There's another 2 hours and 5 minutes of this. The movie does start with the author of Frankenstein being like a demonic hell creature who decides to possess a woman. The reason she can possess her is something along the lines of, she's trying to make herself quiet and not a problem. She's in hell. Because the most pain a feminist can suffer is trying to act like a civilized human being. About 3 minutes after this, by the way, she gets repeatedly slapped around by men who then murder her by throwing her down the stairs. Again, I wish I was joking. I'm not. This isn't exaggeration. I feel like if I don't keep saying it, you won't believe me. Shelley, trapped in a dark, shadowy limbo, rambles in a sing-songy literary gibberish with the overzealousness of a haunted house employee on payday, decides to spiritually possess the mobster's girlfriend, and it gets worse and worse. Ida has a supernatural outburst, and then a man pushes her down the stairs and kills her. For now. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The reason why she gets resurrected is because Frankenstein literally turns up and says, I'm looking for intercourse. Now you have to remember, this is a long time ago. Words change in their meaning over time. At this point in time, that meant conversation, just so we're all aware. But you know, Gyllenhaal's really smart. Also, awful used to be a good thing. It meant you were full of awe. There was a time when you could meet a woman, have awful intercourse, and that'd mean you'd get a second date. I tell you, it's not often I get to quote Sleepy Hollow in a video. Gyllenhaal's strange to be stylish while having no sense of style. It's the dirty clown aesthetic from Joker 2. It's the execution from Joker 2. Their mind-numbing crime spree begins. As their drawn-out, uninteresting antics go on, two cliched detectives follow them. You won't be surprised to learn that she's the real brains behind the partnership, but Jake gets all the credit. That's right, the male feminist realized that he'd been evil all along as a member of the patriarchy, and yet constantly affirms her as his obvious better. The one thing that Gyllenhaal has never heard of her entire life is male variability hypothesis, because unfortunately for her, that would actually explain reality, and would no doubt lead to a few hard-hitting truths about herself. Remember, this is a woman who can't tell the difference between intelligence and a thesaurus. I'm sure she still respects higher education as well. The acting is committed, but you never believe them in these poorly constructed roles or sympathize with their us versus the world plight. No, because they're both evil. There's a moment where she's holding up a load of innocent people at a party that she walked into on her own, and the police are surrounding her. They don't shoot her. She's a clear and present danger to lots of innocent people around her, but they don't shoot her. Instead, they try and talk her down because they're idiots. And this guy walks up to her, trying to talk her down. When he had an angle, he could have just blown her brains out. She kills him. He was a completely innocent person, never done anything wrong as far as we know. She kills him. This causes Frankenstein to basically lose it, fall in love with her even more, and immediately want to jump her bones. So yes, well, in the lot of the movie, he's shown to be quite, emotional, fragile, restrained. He's still evil. The morality of this entire movie is just inverted. After the repellent sludge that is the bride, she must bring her skill for simple psychological storytelling back from the dead. The end credit song here is Monster Mash. At the end of the movie, the last thing I cared about is what song was playing. Just wanted to get out of there. Desperately needed to try and think some things and reactivate my brain from the horrific assault that it had just gone under. For instance, some other script examples would be, at one point during the movie, she utters the immortal line, "I can't breathe." And if you're thinking, no, you're probably reading too much into that. No, there's no context to it. She gets sucked off to a parallel dimension, put in a glass jar, "I can't breathe," as the police are after her. And then towards the end of the movie, she's like, all the men, they're allowed to have their rage, but what about me? Me too. Me too. What about me too? So subtle. I almost didn't pick up on it. It's like the war cry of hell. This is followed up with a conversation that, like I say, arty, they think they're so smart. The female scientist is talking to her and she said, "Me and my husband, we wanted to see what anti-science would look like. We wanted to create something that would be an inversion of all scientific and physical laws of the universe. We wanted to see what the opposite, something against all of the rules, we wanted to see what it would look like." And the bride looks at her, because yes, at this point, she's taken on the name The Bride. They said the name of the movie in the movie, it's so smart. And she says, "What did it look like?" She looks back at her and goes, "You." With about that much of a dramatic pause, actually. The message being obviously that this absolutely rampant, evil, murderous monster is the feminist endgame. She is what all women should desire to be. The thing that breaks all of the rules, goes against every law that has been set for them. All of the foundations of society, you should turn yourself into something which is anti-that. Basically an animal. Like a murderous, rampaging. Just pure evil. And she was praising her for it. The female detective, by the way, is listening to all of this. She's on the side. She could shoot them. They're all talking about all of the evil that they've done, the amount of people that they've killed. The scientist gets blamed for all of it because, you know, can't be the bride's fault. She wasn't asked if she wanted to be resurrected from the dead. You can't blame her for actions afterwards because you're the one that brought her back. And the cop listens to all of this and does nothing. And then finally, a load of men walk into the room, the moral, justice-based morality that they are, and they shoot the stupid evil cow in the face. Repeatedly, with everything they've got. Which after the rest of the movie, she 100% deserves. And the female detective's like, no, stop it. Care-based morality versus justice is basically evil versus good. And after she pulls rank on the men, because they're like, "Why should we take orders from you?" Because this is a detective's crime scene. "I don't see a detective." "Oh, yes, you do." Because she got DEI'd into the position. They leave. She turns to the evil scientist and goes, "I'll give you a minute. Take as long as you want." Knowing that she's about to resurrect the murderous psychopath that has just been shot by the moral upstanding men. At every point in this movie, you're like, there's no way it could get more evil, and then they top it. It's quite incredible. This is why sometimes I'm like, it doesn't matter if you like a movie, but if you like this one, if you like the themes of this movie, I think liking this movie is a red flag. And you may be thinking, well, he didn't mention Frankenstein in this scene. Oh, we can get to that. Talk about privilege. The Bride reviews are mixed. A wokeified Joker, which was already pretty much that as it is. Caught in the drain somewhere between 2017 and 2020. A tale of female oppression, curiously behind the times. I don't think you realise what progressive means. It's always advancing. You can't simply hide bad art underneath political messaging. Oh, watch them try. I think you'll find they can. There are some critics who did like it, like The Guardian. To be fair, The Guardian likes breadlines. Being evil is kind of the point. It's bad, incoherent, tonally all over the place, Razzie-worthy. It certainly is. What's the point of the movie? I'm surprised you didn't get this is a sledgehammer in the face kind of messaging movie. If you could walk out of this not knowing what it's trying to tell you, I'm kind of surprised. The execution feels thick. That's because you want something else. A man's natural inclination is to care about the plot and the story, the mechanics, the world, how the things work. But Gyllenhaal, what she cares about is the people, it's the feelings, and that's about it. It's how the message fits in with the social consensus. All of the things like plot and environment, they're less of a purpose, less of a point, and more just something you have to get through to get to the bits they care about. This is one of the reasons why male and female entertainment is so different, because the target market does change what the priorities are in a movie. This is why 4-quadrant movies are basically male movies. Because movies that focus on the story and the lore and the world building will naturally do the characterization, just as part of it. They will naturally do the social interaction, just as a side effect of their priorities. Whereas the other way around, well, now you just have feelings. It's why it feels thin. It is just lower down the pyramid of Essentially, what makes a story? With a plot so scattered I can't fully explain it. And let's not forget a subplot about two Chicago detectives that borders on parody. It's a catastrophically poor misfire. Incoherent reboot. I am a robust champion of female filmmakers. Nobody's perfect, if only because there's scant representation within a rigged boys club. How can you hate this movie? This movie is made for you, Kevin. With only 9 women directors in the top 100 highest grossing movies of 2025, they have a far greater hit rate than their male counterparts. Oh god. Oh, we don't know how stats work. If a woman has directed it, in short, chances are it's going to be good. The Bride is not good. A howling misfire. I'm gonna write a paragraph to go, no, I'm on your side, honestly. But, this one though. I know my first paragraph, I'm lying, don't I? But I am just interested in the social consensus. That's what I'm really concerned with here. No, don't worry, I am an ally. But I also do have to live in reality. Occasionally. So catastrophically ill-judged that it almost needs to be seen to be believed. I agree with that. I also don't recommend it. On your own head be it, right? Oh yeah, there was one point where Ida was actually honest, and I agreed with her. Just wake up and start screaming, I'm revolting, I'm revolting, I'm revolting. She is. Physically, morally. Just part of the greater gestalt of the movie. This is intellectually specious and ethically dubious. It's not dubious. It's not ethically dubious. It is evil. So if there's the one takeaway anyone should get from this review is the movie is evil. You can't hide bad art. It is not art. This is no art than me going to the toilet. Yes, we need movies to address the male monsters of the world. This is about the female monsters. The men in this movie are almost like comedy parodies. It's impossible to take them seriously, because they're so overdone. The main monster of this entire piece is the bride, but you're constantly being told that she's the one in the right, that she's not responsible for her actions. Look, just because she's evil doesn't mean that she's responsible for it. It's got probably somebody else's fault. Slapping the phrase Me Too on a sloppy, ham-fisted vanity project doesn't cut it. Well, that's according to you, Telegraph, because according to the Mary Sue, yes it does. Not only did they love the trailer, but Rachel Leishman absolutely adored this movie. Though it did say, if you like this movie and you understand it, it's a massive red flag. Well, maybe she's moving to China because there's a lot of them. I also like the negative reviews from The Bride coming from mostly men. Well, that's grossly predictable. The imbalance of the reviews. 60 reviews had a review of day one, but only 15 of them were from women. Welcome to the cinema, where men like things and stuff, whereas women are far more social, which means they don't go to the cinema as much. This is why Madam Web struggled to get them to the cinema. Now, I know in the clitlet and stuff, they love their monsters. The problem with this movie, and why it is absolutely bombed with them at the box office, is when they watch a movie, they project themselves into it. They become one of the characters. Same with the stories, it's why they like the books. It's why the books don't actually have big descriptions of them, in-depth descriptions of them, because it's far harder to put yourself into the place of that character if it's already been described as another person. That means in this movie, they would want the women to put themselves in the position of a monster. A horrific, ugly monster. Although in the movie, they do specifically say she's far too attractive. They try and make it as like, no, you can be her. No, we promise. We think she's an attractive corpse. Genuinely lying. Even I can't believe what I watched. The Bride of Frankenstein's been in history for years, but she had 0 lines. Based. If only she had in this movie, it would have been better. That's why The Bride is such a necessary take. God, we had to hear her whine. It's not just another adaptation meant to shock audiences. I think it's meant to shock you at all. I think it's meant to encourage you to imitate it. But The Bride is about female rage, and unapologetically so. Penelope is chaos, and Frank is happy for her. Their love and dedication to each other gives us a slice of romance. But what really works is the bride does get to speak for herself this time round. There's a moment where he's proposing to her, after she's slaughtered a load of innocent people. And all the police are around there, and there's a female cop who is, once again, listening to them. This is after she's got promoted. She could repeatedly stop these brutal murderers, but never decides to. So of course, the men, the moral men, have to stand in and actually do some work. For some reason, they shoot Frankenstein through the head. I don't know why. He's not doing anything. He's of no threat. They don't even call out first. But she's holding a gun, and they shoot him first. And then rather than just continuing to fire and shoot her as well, you know, in for a penny, in for the pound, we might as well get the actual evil criminal that we came here for. Instead of with her, they start shouting at her. She's waving a gun around, and they'll shoot the man, but not her, as she's actually threatening them. Put it down, put it down! It's like, what, you only murdered the more innocent people in this? And they actually let her escape. Now, the message of this movie is meant to be that she's the oppressed one, but I'm not sure how we argue that the privileged class of people are the ones that get shot for absolutely no reason, while you get to live and drive off after committing horrific evil acts of crime. It's a bit like Barbie in that case, that it's so honest. It really tells you more about the people making it than the message they're trying to convince you of. In a lot of ways, this is what adaptation should be. Brash, fun, exciting spin on an iconic character, allows the chaos of their love to lead, makes it for an exciting and thrilling time at the theatres. You'll be wanting to start throwing black goo on your face because it does look cool. Now, in this movie, I don't think she's really nailed any of the themes or the messages that the movie had. Doesn't really talk about any of them. It is like I got swept away with the emotions of the piece and actually didn't understand what it was telling me. And that's about as generous as an interpretation as I can give of it. Because if you come back, no, I did understand the movie, I think that's worse. Because she did keep doubling down on Twitter. I'd like to point out that the vast majority of the Rotten Tomato reviews are from men. And their hyperbolic response to this movie is just as sexist, as if they said, boo, woman. I don't know whether she meant based. But if we are going to assume that for some reason there's something wrong with talking in generalities about groups that share things in common, then you may not want to pick that one, as her other tweets are, no more men. I can't believe these people are sexist. Whoops. And if I say what I really think about all these dudes and their reviews of The Bride, like I say, the most complimentary thing I could say about her review is that I don't think she understood the movie. It's not a love story. It isn't. But, much like I say about American Psycho, women, I will honour and love your opinions. Unless they hate the movie, I'm sure. And this is the thing, I don't think there's anything wrong with making group judgments, but if you are going to say it's a problem, probably shouldn't be making them. Man, it's almost midnight. I was at work. I ran to the theatre to see this movie. I was so hyped. I left the theatre almost at midnight, and people think I hated the movie because it's directed by a woman. Watch this crap yourself and then tell me what you think. That is a guy who's confident that he's correct. The Bride. I'm not sure people understand the scope of this delightful, unmitigated disaster. It's a total must-see. I disagree. It earning $1 million is the best thing for society. The less people see this and are actually influenced by it, the better. Even Variety calls it a feminist reimagining of The Bride of Frankenstein. $90 million budget, projected to make roughly 10 in its first weekend, will be a major financial disappointment. Just a few days ago, The Bride was estimated to be making $40 million globally. Now it's projected to make 10 domestically, which at best would be like 20. I guarantee you this won't do very well worldwide. If it only makes 10 in the nation of feminism, it really isn't going to do well in the rest of the world, especially when it starts hitting language barriers, where even the original ideology struggled to translate. And this movie was going to be worse. Gyllenhaal was going to make it far more adult violent. Warner Brothers had to order her to dumb it down because it was very hard to watch. She was putting on screenings, public screenings. They tested it and tested it. Had big screenings in malls where people came to see it. Never been part of that before. And the response came back, you need to take some of those adult violent scenes out. That means the movie that I saw, where I thought there was too much of it anyway, these scenes go on for multiple minutes in a montage. I was like, really? Is we still going? That was the cut down version. One of the things he brought up was violence. Is it too violent? I was talking about it with a girlfriend. That's your problem. Maybe ask someone with a justice-based morality, who said, and she wasn't being reductive, I wonder if you had been a man making this movie, if you would have had the same response. I understand how she made this piece of crap. It is literally just a bubble. She's surrounded by lunatics with no dangly bits. They've somehow managed to convince themselves of a time which literally never existed. So subsumed in a narrative of their own making. Where if you were a man, would you have been allowed? No, actually. Men wouldn't have made it in the first place. Not actually something they're into. That's you, darling. I had a couple of women say, I don't want to see a woman being violated. That comes after this. Oh, would it have happened if you were a man? Well, the women don't like it either, so what's your excuse now? And I think, I also don't want to see that. Then why did you make a movie with it? Oh my god. I'm gonna have an aneurysm. And yet this is a major reality in the culture that we're living in. From who? Who's doing it? That's not a topic you wanted to broach in the movie, is it? That element of the movie was very one-dimensional, wasn't it, darling? Just as I was cutting the movie, there was how much wildly disturbing brutality there has been in the world. And if we're going to see it, we need to see it in a way that's very hard to watch, because it is very awful. Why do you think that people want to go to work, to make money, to go to the cinema, to give it to you, so that they can relax watching very hard to watch, awful entertainment, so that they can be lied to and preached to about what's going on in the world? because you don't want to accurately represent it. Why should they be blamed for the actions of, different groups? And if you know anything about me, if you look at my work, this is something that I spent a lot of time thinking about. I believe you. I believe that you read a lot about it as well. I believe you get very energetic about it. I am sure I've been thoughtful about this particular subject. I think we can take it. Why should we? This isn't about my capacity to withstand entertainment. This is about why should I have the desire to give you money to see it? Why is this supposed to be fun for me? One of the major issues was agreement. You could say we don't agree to be born either, but we're not born as grown women. She really thinks this movie is so deep. She really does. What ensues is beyond either of them. Murder. Possession. Murder! Such a good thing. A wild and radical cultural movement and the outlaw lovers in a wild and combustible romance. Oh my god. I might be in hell. I might actually be in hell. No, despite what several people seem to be trying to gaslight others about, this movie isn't some deep, intellectual, artistic vision. In one of the many weird dance scenes, as far as she can, her husband is watching her, and she starts dancing with another man who starts feeling her up, which she's fine with. And then he starts doing it even more, which she isn't, and then other men surround her, because literally every man in this, and they start getting more handsy, and does she try and stop him? And does she try and stop him? Does Frankenstein try and stop him? No, but what she does start to do is shout, violence, 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 it's that annoying. And it goes on for a long time. What I've just done wasn't an exaggeration. It's a really intelligent and subtle script that you have to be paying attention to. I can't understand the message of the movie. How? That's what I want to know. Even at that time, all these men are around her. Loads of other people are just dancing, ignoring it. And then it just cuts to women standing around them, staring at them. But they're not going to say anything or do anything. They're very subtle. After she inspires the Cultural Revolution, because she did the, I've got brains, I'm really brainy, brain attack. All of these really big, fat, ugly slobs start running around, just shooting people. And they have signs that they're holding as they're murdering people, and newspapers with the headline, brain attack. They really thought that saying the word brain a lot meant they were intelligent. And they actually give a number of how many, innocent people these murderous psychopaths have killed. 18 or something. And they blame the original woman that inspired it. They blame the bride. And the police officer's like, no, it's not her fault. She only killed one person. And that was self-defense. Do you want to know who that person was? The innocent cop that I described earlier who was doing absolutely nothing. He should have shot her, because she's waving a gun around at all these innocent people for no reason whatsoever. He should have done it. But he didn't. He was trying to talk her down. And she killed him for no reason whatsoever. And the good cop, the male ally who stands down for him, his job is in the police force to give it to his lessers so he can uplift them as they've been oppressed for so long. And he realised that by defending the murder of 18 people in self-defense, despite the fact that she wasn't being attacked and she was the one causing everything. It's an evil movie. I actually wrote down, brain attack becomes a feminist chant despite being retarded the first time she said it. It's amazing how every man she meets has to try and attack her, as it's the only way the movie can excuse her evil. That includes Frankenstein, by the way, because when he brings her back, she has no memories, and he says, you're my bride, we're already married. So essentially, throughout the entire movie, because he's been lying to her, she couldn't give informed consent. That is the foundation of the romance throughout the entire movie. That's why I say it's not a romance. And all of the women that watch it and they get dragged along, oh, it's so romantic. You just missed the themes of the movie. I do genuinely think this is the worst movie of the year. I don't need to see what's coming out. I don't know how anything can beat this. If it does, it's genuinely impressive. Because I didn't think anything could come close to Joker 2. In my lifetime, I fully expected Joker 2 to be the worst movie for me forever. And this is basically equal to it. The only reason I hate the Joker 2 more is because I feel it's more targeted at me. The themes of Joker 2 were designed to change me. Whereas this is just designed to destroy women. Designed to drag them down. It's essentially intersexual competition. That if I can destroy all of my competition and make them miserable, then I'll have an advantage over them. It's a horrific thing to do to people. And yet, that's modern society. If you've got this far in the video, you probably think I'm exaggerating. I would. I did, with other people's reviews. So in that case, I do think this movie needs to be seen to be believed. But I would never recommend it, because a movie like this is designed to affect people. It's designed to alter people's opinions. And while I don't think this will, because it's quite frankly not competent or intelligent enough to do it, it thinks it's trying to subtly manipulate people, but that does require a certain understanding of humanity, of intelligence. It basically need to not be Gyllenhaal. But then again, the Mary Sue review shows absolutely no sign or mention of those kind of themes in the movie. Like, she watched the movie and didn't even understand them. Or maybe just agreed with them so much, was just kind of taken as read, that no, obviously this is how the world is. And so it didn't come across as a message to her. That was just how she thinks reality is. I don't know. But the same thing happened with Barbie. A lot of people watched it, liked it, didn't even notice the themes and the message it was trying to put across. It feels sometimes like you're living in a different reality than other people. Like, you watch the same thing, and there is no discussion to be had on it because they don't even comprehend what's happening on the screen. But whether it would affect you or not, this movie is designed to make you feel miserable. You heard it from Gyllenhaal herself. It's designed to be awkward. It's designed to be a horrible watch. It's not entertaining. Just like Joker 2 in the bathroom scene. Designed to make you feel dirty and awful. And that's not entertainment. That's not going to be successful. That's not going to make money. Nobody wants to go to a cinema to feel awful. But even if you just had the events of the movie separated from the theme somehow, you still wouldn't want to see it. Because there's a lot to critique in this movie. The way it's put together, how all the scenes feel how unconnected, how there isn't really a plot. It's just people wandering around and police magically finding them as the two monsters do evil. The script is like a child wrote it. Same child directed it in a really pretentious way because they think they're artistic. What really gets it for me is the core of the movie. It's the messaging and the themes. And that's why I would never recommend that anyone watch this movie. I don't think there's anything to gain, and I actually think there's a lot to lose, as this is the type of movie you leave feeling dirtier. And I can 100% understand why people walked out to avoid that. This movie isn't bad. It's disgusting. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.